downstairs.
Happy birthday, Brandon! Happy birthday! Oh, yeah.
Happy early birthday to you. Please welcome Malina Weissman, who plays Grace. Welcome and congratulations and thank you. We also have Harrison Kahn, who plays Dylan. And next up we have writer Sam Lasky. And finally, writer Dan Kuntz. Big thank you to everybody for coming out tonight and for having this conversation with us. So, Joseph and my writing duo down there, I'm going to start with a big question for all of you. It's one of my favorite writing questions to ask whenever a movie has a really cool high concept like this. For the three of you, what was idea number one? The thing that started everything on Ick, but then also did the three of you have a break story moment? Something you came up with along the way that made you say, Ick is whole now and ready to go?
So I actually thought of Ick 20 years ago on a Nine Inch Nails video. It started as a music video, and I didn't get the job. But the idea was that Trent Reznor was sitting in a chair, and I kept seeing the skin grow around the room, and I iterated that idea a couple times on other videos, but no commissioner fucking liked the idea. So I just saved it, and it wasn't until 2018 I decided to make it. So by the way, 2018 is before COVID, so it's not a COVID analogy directly, okay? And that's when I talked with Sam and came up with this idea. And Sam, you can take it from here.
Yeah. Yeah, when Joseph first pitched me on the idea, I was like, what do you mean the Ick's just been around for years and everybody's ignoring it? That's ridiculous. No one would ever behave that way when there's a crisis. And then that was sort of what clicked for me, like, oh, okay, that's what this movie is about. And for me, it was, the first thing I wrote was the scene at the Walmart stand-in with the government scientists, where she's talking to the town and like trying to convince them to take this seriously. And that was my breakthrough moment for what the movie was about and how to approach the material.
Well, I was working with Joseph on some other projects, and it was clear he was going to make Ick. And so I begged my way onto the movie and started doing punch-ups once Brandon was cast. And gradually I just really fell in love with these characters and just started going harder and harder and trying to make it a really emotional father-daughter story that's also full of like crazy one-liners. So I didn't break the story.
Yeah, we didn't meet until the premiere.
Now we're best friends.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should be super resentful because he rewrote me, so.
It's a team effort. I'll get to that more in a little bit. Joseph, I wanted to throw one question your way that I picked up from your director's statement. In it, you say that Ick is my dream of making an old-fashioned monster movie for a modern world. You'll learn this about me very quickly. I like two-part questions. First part of that one is, what is something about older classic monster movies that you love and you wanted to hold tight to in Ick? But then can you also tell me something new that making a monster movie for the modern world demands?
So the thing I love about older monster movies, and it's creature features. We call this a horror film, but it's a creature feature. And the creature features I loved back in the day were like, I would go in the library, this ages me, I'd go up, check out these books in elementary school. It'd be like Wolfman and Frankenstein. They had these like orange covers and stuff like that. And they were scary, but not that scary. And they were real, but not that real. And you could see the sort of the fantasy of it all. And what we kind of forget is that as kids, we don't want to see complete realism. That's why we like animation, So the entire idea of like this sort of fantasy creature that you could bury yourself in, but you're not going to be scared of it. Like, I don't want if you're watching it, I don't want you to go to sleep worried that it's gonna eat you. It's like there should be an element of animation to it. So that's what I mean by the old creature features back then. So I like the way that those creature features look kind of fake. You know, it's comforting to as a kid to be scared but not scared at the same time. You know, and by the way, that's why I ended up like reading Fangoria magazine and things like that. Like nowadays in the modern world, we want it to be so realistic. You know, we don't want to have any imagination whatsoever. That's not the way kids. You got to give some room for kids to put their own thoughts into it. You know, the second part to your question in terms of how you make it modern. Well, I think back in the day, all the questions about monsters were always, what if? What if they came in? What if Godzilla came in? What if King Kong came in? What would happen, right? And I think, you know, one of the reasons we started in 2018 is it was like a 9/11 thing. Like the whole idea of what if something would collapse in society. Well, we saw it. You know, 9/11 would happen. Later on, COVID happened. And you know what ends up happening? Nothing. It's like we just sort of ignore it. You know. So I thought. You know, people might think that the ick is very unrealistic the way that they, you know, treat it. But not really. Come on. You know, it's like we ignore things all the time.
Yeah, I'm not wrong about that right now. For my three actors now, so this movie takes some very big swings. It is very specific tonally, and I get the feeling that when you're reading it on the page, it can be difficult to like fully wrap your brain around what it's going to be. So do you each remember the very first moment, either in prep or on set, when you kind of like stood there and said to yourself, like, I get my character in this world that they're in right now?
I know how to use a microphone. I think that Hank appealed to me right away. I always really appreciated and liked the character and was interested in exploring his journey. It was just the making sure that this was a movie that was going to do what it is, and it does. It's more that PG-13, whatever, just like not so in your face, because I like all the ideas and the themes and the relationships, and I wanted to be a part of a fun thing like that with all the comedy, but I didn't want it to be too much. So I always thought Hank was fun, and I guess I hoped that the level of comedy or the sarcastic tone or the whatever you call Hank's kind of vibe in the movie was really what Joseph wanted, because I felt like in our conversation it was, because I was really excited to kind of like, I don't know, there's something fun about the begrudging hero for me. So it was that, and it only got better as Joseph and I he allowed more and more collaboration along the way.
I would say we filmed the last scene of the movie together on the first or the second day of shooting, and you would think that's not helpful at all, but it was actually really helpful, and it was really sweet, and I didn't really know Brandon that well, and he was so awesome, and I thought that was a beautiful day, and that allowed me to really kind of ground Grace and see who she was as a person. So
Really established our established the relationship, and I'm really happy that we place.
yeah, that was really awesome, and one of my favorite days for sure.
Actually, yeah, I saw that scene early on, and that helped me also find the tone, because I was like, all right, it's very grounded, very, very straight. Because when I was reading the lines initially, even for the audition, I was like, should I do this more over the top and comedically, or more straight? Because Dylan has some crazy lines that I would have never ever thought in a million years I would come out of my mouth. And so I was just like, you know what, this guy has lied to himself so well for so long that he truly believes it. And I just led with that, and yeah.
I want to say something about casting for a second. So, we were looking for a movie star. Okay, we were looking for someone to play Hank that just had just a sense of I won't say leadership, but just like, you know, when you watch somebody and they're an actor and then they're a movie star. I wanted a movie star. Okay, like just fascinating to look at, fascinating, just funny, charismatic, all that. Anyways, we couldn't find that for a while, and then I immediately started looking for Grace. Now, it's a little easier to cast an 18-year-old because they're not that famous. There's not that many famous 18-year-olds out there. So when you do a casting, now you're looking for the best actress. Do you know what I'm saying? And we went through just tons of young actresses, and then Malina just was like insane. Like all the other actresses tried to play it funny, you know, like they played it like a comedy, and Malina played it straight and natural and great. And she was funny at the same time, as she just sort of believed in it. She was the only one that seemed to believe the lines. And actually for me, at that moment, I was like, that's the way the entire movie needs to be acted. Like Malina literally set the entire look of the film and tone for the acting. Then when we brought in Brandon, you know, and I knew Brandon, you know, Scott Pilgrim, he's like so funny. He's so underutilized in comedy, it's kind of insane, you know?
Yeah.
And the funny thing about Brandon is that when we were talking, he was so adamant that this was not R-rated, you know? And I was like, we're both on the same page. And he would not sign on until I just absolutely like told him that this is going to be family friendly. Well, I mean, it's PG-13 plus, but we barely got there. So
I love the fact that this is kind of like a gateway genre movie. I grew up on them, and I feel like new generations need them, so I appreciate that part of it. Malina and Harrison, I apologize. I'm going to make Brandon make the two of you blush right now, and I don't want to imply that you're new to the industry, but you are at the early stages of your career. So Brandon, working with the two of them, I am curious, can you tell me something you appreciated about the two of them as co-stars that you are very excited for more actors to get to experience on their future projects?
What's the last part? I know the first part of the question.
So, something that you appreciated about them that now more actors are getting to experience on their future films?
That I would want more actors to experience? Well, I don't think those are two things, but I appreciate their work ethic and their passion, and they came to play. You know, everyone, this was not, you know, anytime you do an independent film, it can be challenging. In Houston, 100+ degree temperature and humidity every day for 2 months, with, you know, limited-ish resources, and a fucking great crew who worked hard as hell. Joseph had everything that he could planned and ready to go, so, you know, it made it work. But these guys, they have to deal with that too, and act, you know, anybody who's been behind the or in front of the camera knows that, like, it'd be great to have a little bit of space and breathing time to do a scene. It doesn't always happen in film, and especially with all the action in this movie. And these guys were phenomenal for that part, which is, you know, very appreciative as for me to say to young actors, because sometimes, you know, they could be very ego-y about it. They weren't. And this guy and the makeup and all the prosthetics, and never saw him complain and brought it all the time. It's so funny in the movie. And Malina also had to really carry all of that. Like, she's Hank for the teenagers, right? It's hard to play you're playing the straight woman, and it's challenging. But Joseph's right. She did it so well, and it's a great balance for both of us. And you know, I love the father-daughter relationship that developed for us in the car scene. That was tough, and we both stayed in it. So everyone was great. Did I answer the question? I want everyone to feel like all the actors are valued, no matter what position you're in, I think is what I would like. And I think that we did a decent job about that on the movie. I want everybody to we're all part of the same team, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say that you were also so awesome to work with, and he was, you know, we are kids and we are young actors, and having him on set every day was so supporting and so great, and he was always open to questions, and yeah, you're great too. Anyway.
So you'll notice this about me very quickly. I like two-part questions. I also like questions that force collaborators to give each other flowers, and no, Joseph, I have one for you as well. So I feel like a lot of times people always use the phrase, what did the director bring out of the actor? And I do think that does apply, and it's important to acknowledge that, but I like asking about the reverse as well. So can you tell me something about your actors that brought something new out of you as a director?
Oh yeah, Spielberg once said, acting, directing is 80% casting, and I think it's like 95%, And so honestly, look, the process of the technical stuff I know very, very well, and I can do almost anything technically. I can't act. I cannot act to save my life. What they do, and everybody thinks they can act, and I've been casting commercials and music videos and doing movies for 30 years. No, barely any people in the world can act. It's insane. I'm in casting sessions all the time. The vast majority of people that walk through the door are not good actors, okay? And the ones that are movie stars are like just, it's like insane. It's like literally you will go and do for a 30-second commercial, you will go through 300 people and maybe find one person that's right for the part, So when you do a 2-hour movie and you're looking for these things, the director does shit. Literally, you cast it and then you give them space to do their thing. That's really the reality. That beautiful acting is them, not me. That's it.
You do a lot as well, as does everyone. And that's going to lead me to my question for you, Sam and Dan. So one of the cool things about making a movie is that it's a big collaboration and the work evolves every single step of the way when other artists get involved. So is there any particular thing that you wrote for Ick that wound up being even stronger than you ever could have imagined it could wind up being in the finished film based on what another artist did with it in the movie?
Yeah.
For sure, the end of the movie with Malina and Brandon, when Hank expresses gratitude, and in literally the darkest moment, and the sun comes out. It's just so beautiful. It really chokes me up when I watch it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful moment. Choked me up when I wrote it too, but I'll say it came off great. You guys are amazing.
Also being upside down.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
car. Dude, what a pro.
I mean, hearing the jokes that I wrote 6 years ago now, and you wrote a couple years ago, actually being delivered and being hilarious, because they're in your head and you're like typing them on the page.
What are your favorites?
Oh God, I love every single thing that comes out of your mouth. I had so much fun writing the caricature of a woke person, because I am a caricature of a woke person. And then also, when you're writing the action scenes and when the Ick attacks, a lot of it is just the Ick attacks. Yeah. It grabs the character, and then to see the crazy shots that Joseph came up with, not in my wildest imagination, when I wrote some of that stuff, could I have seen what was going to happen.
It's a collaboration between 3 writers, but I will take credit for one that I thought came out really fucking funny. Who the fuck is Creed? You did great.
Wish we could keep you guys here all night. We can't. You got some celebrating to do, and I have to toss it to the audience. Let's see how many questions we can get in. I'll go with the first hand I saw right there.
What are your guys' favorite horror movies that came out in the past few years?
All right, just for the people in the back, what are your favorite horror movies that came out in recent years?
What's it called? The John Krasinski one.
A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. The Quiet Place. I haven't seen the newest one yet because I've been traveling too much, but 2 is pretty awesome.
Such a hard question.
Get Out or Talk to Me, probably. Yeah.
I'm a big Ari Aster fan, so Midsommar I watch once a month, even though it's 3 hours long.
Well, this year I saw a movie called Cuckoo that blew my mind. I thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was awesome. I saw it twice in the theater. Cuckoo.
All right, let's see who else we have. I'm having a hard time seeing in the back. Oh, you got that one right there.
What was the budget you were working
Oh boy, do you want to tell us your budget?
Well, we're trying to sell the movie, and we're trying to get a good bid on it, but it's a lot less than you think. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, someone asked about the soundtrack. Come on. All right, I see that hand right in the middle. I'll come down to you next. Yeah, you.
That's my question. How did you choose all the music?
All right, let's hear about choosing the music.
So it's, this is a fish out of water story on a certain level, right? It's like Hank goes in, and it's a caricature of millennials versus Gen Z. And the soundtrack is Hank's soundtrack. It's the MP3 player, amazing, right? That he was going to give to Mina Subari. I forgot her name.
Stacey's mom, Stacey.
So it plays through the whole film, and so it was really a matter of just trying to find what song was the funniest or the best version for each mood, and also what have you not heard of or heard in a while, or what did you listen to a lot but you kind of forgot about, and so I think I kind of nailed that. So.
Can I squeeze in one follow-up question? Of all the songs you were able to include in the movie, which one made you think there's no way they're going to give me the okay to use this song, but you got it?
Oh, Creed. Like that was that. I'm not kidding you. Creed took 1 year to get, and it was almost at a point but we were it was at TIFF, right? That was like a month ago, and literally up to about 2 weeks before TIFF, we were not approved. And I was actually calling Brandon and said, okay, we got to reshoot the scene and put Nickelback in instead. Because Nickelback was ready. And
it was originally Nickelback.
It was
the first
Nickelback,
version of the script.
but Creed just was cooler. But we got it just in the nick of time.
You did. All right, we'll take two more. I saw one over there, and then we're going to come to you over there. So, yep.
Mine's just a follow-up about the music, which is, you made, the story of this film is you made this almost totally outside the system, pretty much. And it looks visually as big as it can be. But if the budget's small, I just want to know the percentage. What is the music budget versus the rest of the movie?
The question is about the music budget versus the rest of the movie.
The music budget was, and by the way, I called in favors on everything, including music, visual effects, equipment, everything you can possibly imagine. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I did probably 15 jobs on this to get the numbers down, everything from learning 15 different pieces of software. It was just at a certain point, it was just squeezing. And I'm only saying that in context that the music still, I just knew the music was going to be a part of it as much as the visual effects were or the sound. So I think the music part was probably about 1/7 of the budget.
All right, last question. What are you going to say to take us home tonight? I don't think there could have been a better last question. Thank you for that. For all of you guys, thank you so much for being here and sharing your movie with us and also some of your experience making it. Congratulations on it.